So we'll start, huh? Pawan?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So good evening, everybody. So in the series of webinar, today we are going to have a entrepreneurship and its challenges. We have with us Mr. Mohsin Khan, who is a HBTI computer science and engineering pass out in 1998. He, after doing engineering, he went to Silicon Valley of India, which is Bangalore, and he started his career there. He worked for the Siemens, Nokia, Intel, and Accenture. And then he started having a passion into the automobile. And into this, he did something in the entrepreneurship. He's a very good entrepreneur. He has a very great knowledge on it. He's a business coach and mentor. Many of you would have shared your thought, what you would like to have from this webinar. I think most of your queries will get answered as Mr. Mohsin run through his presentation and his talk. If by any chance, if any question left out and which is not answered, and you would like to share any question to us, you just write on the chat box. We will be there to answer you. So please join me to welcome Mr. Mohsin Khan. Mr. Mohsin Khan, please.
Thank you, sir, and it's always a pleasure. It's indeed a moment of happiness because where we came from and where we started, I'm able to do something back for the same community, and it brings a lot of memories back also.
Yes.
People who are listening, the world has changed so fast and so drastically that I remember that when I was in college, we had to use those rotary phones to make STD calls. It's right now in instant messaging and you can reach, but of course, we are not from that far, so don't think that we are so old, but things change so fast and so rapidly. And I was always used to wonder how I can go back and talk to some folks to share some of my knowledge which I have acquired over a period of time. And it's amazing that the time has come in a different way because traveling is of course restricted, but the world is small. And welcome to everyone who has joined. I guess Sir gave an introduction, but let me just add little things. Where did I start from? Of course, I did my BTech in computer science and came to Bangalore. See, the idea was that to get placed in campus, that's the dream for everyone, right? So that was the same thing for me. And I was placed in campus in another city, but my focus was that I wanted to be in Bangalore. I was placed in Hyderabad. But from the beginning, I had this, why to take what is offered? Why not try more? So during my talk, actually, I'd give you certain things which have happened from my life. And if it helps you in some way, please make notes and add it to your life. But the disclaimer that you see, nothing that is said out here is an outright advice and go ahead and do that. It's not like that. You should always apply your own thought and consult with whoever you are getting mentored with before making any drastic changes in life. What works for one may not work for another. Okay, certain principles of success, certain principles of life remain the same, but then you always have to go with that disclaimer. And what I'm going to say is out of my experience, it has worked for me in some ways, it has not worked for me. It's still under work in progress. We are not perfect. Of course, I'm not perfect. And so whatever you think today and strikes to you like a light bulb, sleep over it. Okay, why I'm saying this, because sometimes I used to hear something and still I hear from somebody who's successful, oh, let me do this, but it may not work. It may be something which I have to tweak. So anyways, going back to where I was, I did not want to take things as they were, and I went ahead and tried a little bit extra. Long story short, I got into another company which is off campus, and it was a better placement in some ways. And life changed, of course, and I got into Siemens. I was working in a very cutting edge technology, which was signaling 7 SS7 protocol UI development at that time, which was one or two companies in the entire country which were working. But see, the thing is that in a few months, I realized that probably me and job don't fit together. Probably, I'm It's like fitting a round peg into a square hole in the wall, and it may not work for me in the long term, long way, And I was always trying to network. And my one of the learnings which I had in life is that you need to network with people. You just can't be isolated to, let's say, few set of folks. You need to keep your horizon wider and try to find out what is the world, what are people doing, and try to find people who are more successful. So I was on that lookout, and in that thought process, I could bump across somebody who was from IIT and who's already working on certain things which were on the way towards entrepreneurship, working alongside his job, and he was in touch with some globally successful business leaders who were looking for certain partners in India in the wellness space. So that background is that before automobile, this came along in the wellness and consumer network space. What we see today has emerged and evolved into a more mature space, and they were looking for right partners to train and educate, and who could work along with their job in their spare time. I was able to impress them. I was able to show the right thought process, the right willingness to learn, and certain attributes which are basic required for anybody to induct you into their partnership. In terms of any concept that they're implementing, and it worked well for me. I worked along with my job. Of course, I grew up the corporate ladder from Siemens, move on to Intel, multiple organizations which were all leading Fortune 10 companies. I worked throughout with them, and but alongside, I was investing my time into my future. What I was investing my time was that I knew that at one point of time, jobs are not secure, and we found that out in 2000. A lot of us got in. I don't know if you remember. Probably it's too far back for you, but you can remember the biggest turning point in the IT industry came in the Y2K, which is called the Y2K problem was solved. A lot of projects were given, and then suddenly, when all of them were finished, people who worked on them were like, "What do we do with them?" Right? A lot of money was pumped in. The first dot-com bust came around that time, 2000, 2001. That means, the world was not ready for it. There was a lot of money pumped in, and people lost jobs. So I saw that, well, this isn't going to work long term, and you need to create something additionally. So along with my job, I was working and I was investing my extra time. So one of the things which I have learned in my life is that, time has to be used very wisely. Of course, when we are in college, we need to have fun, and at any point in time, we need to have some fun. We need to have our breaks. You just can't be a robot working all the time. But using time wisely and with discretion is something which comes rarely. And probably the only way that we learned, and I learned, and I would advise, how do I learn to use my time wisely? The only way is to associate with people who are using it wisely. If I associate with people who are whiling away my time, I'm never going to learn that how to use my time wisely. And I need to know, where is it going? It's a commodity that is given equally to everyone. We know that, we have heard that. What do we do with it determines our future. So I was using my time, my weekends, and my extra time in developing a business of my own, along with my job, while other people were enjoying, having fun, thinking about going on site, thinking about going vacations. I was investing that along with my associated like-minded people of the same age group who are also working, and we wanted to create an income stream outside of our job so that one day we can be financially independent. So over a period of 7-8 years, working alongside, stage came where I could take it easy at my corporate career, and I was fortunate that I got mentorship of global leaders, as I was saying, people who have mentored and guided people like me on towards the path of entrepreneurship. They are leaders in the business world that I belong to, and they have they have respect globally. And under their guidance, I could phase away from depending on a job. So in 2013 is when I moved out completely. And then what happened is that along with that, see what happens, I tell you, all of us are creative. There is no doubt. But our creative energies are curbed finally. Why? Because we have to spend 9-10 hours performing at work and earn that income. So I'm talking from my point of view. I'm not a first generation entrepreneur. I'm not a born businessman. I didn't have financial backing of my parents and who said, you can do whatever and let's see what happens. And then, we can absorb that hit. I had to get out of college and earn for myself. So I could not afford the luxury of, trying out different things, see what works. Of course, there are different kinds of entrepreneurs in the world. People who have that luxury or people who have that risk-taking ability. I appreciate that. But this was my life. Okay. And so I had to work alongside, develop that. And once that happened, what I figured out is that my creative energies and all my interests, whatever I wanted to do, were getting postponed. So I was exploring certain things. What? From the time I was in college and my batchmates, and even my parents, I'm fond of keeping things in good condition, in the best condition rather. So I used to keep my automobiles in the best condition, and I was experimenting something called as automotive care, which was a very very basic, crude industry in India. It still is very very basic, and around 10 years back, playing around, keeping my automobile in the best condition, and learned certain things, experimented, didn't have the pressure. So one key point I'll tell you is that if you don't have the pressure of performing, your creative abilities can come out much more. For example, somebody says, I want to be a great photographer, but if you're paid to take 8 photographs in a day and they should be the best quality, otherwise you're not going to get paid, you'll take those photographs under pressure, and they may not come out the best. Just an example, right? So I was having fun with it, and slowly it became a business venture, second business venture. Of course, I had the principles that I had learned, the knowledge that I had acquired, the overcomings, and the sense of how to run a business. So I applied that. So by God's grace, that come out to be a second venture. Of course, there are some challenges over there too, like in any other venture, but it's going steady. So currently, I don't depend on a job income, and I'm able to take my time off, probably in middle of the week. That's a good thing, and explore things which I would like to do. And as life goes, you want to use your time wisely. Of course, wisely in the sense you want to use your time for more things than just earning, which is, of course, when you're in college in first, second, third, it's a far-fetched thought. But there will be a stage in life, and at that time, in family or your own interests or time for yourself, it's very tough if you're just performing at a job. So today, me and my associates are in that position. So that's about me. And so what I wanted to just share is that I guess you guys asked pretty relevant questions. I was impressed because I don't think I had thought about that in first, second, third year, what you have written down. So, pretty good that your thought process is in that direction. The first thing is that if somebody says, see, working a job is not bad. Okay, never look at that. Working a job gives you a lot of experience. Working a job gives you a lot of learnings that are useful for being an entrepreneur. So there are two kinds of people who just don't want to get into a job, get into an entrepreneurship directly. You can do that, but does not harm to get your hands dirty by doing certain things hands on, working a job, learning about reporting to someone, sticking to deadlines, working, because frankly speaking, as human beings, we are not so self disciplined. Okay, the first thing is that we need certain structures around us. Why, if you say why, you can look around. If we don't have those signals at that red light, what happens? Chaos. So we need certain structures. So it's useful. And if you've seen people like Jeff Bezos too, they have worked a job and then they have come on to entrepreneurship. So it's not necessary that there's only one route. You straight away have to jump into it, or you can work a job. But certain things which are common at whatever point of time you realize that you wish to be on the journey to entrepreneurship, the first thing is that you need to have a dream. Okay, there has to be a reason why do you want to do that. And let me tell you, if that reason is to make money, chances are you're not going to make it. That would surprise you. You'll say, wow, there's money in entrepreneurship. None of the guys who made it big in business, or none of the guys who started business, ever thought, oh, I want to make money. The first thing is that they had a dream as in to make a difference, a dream as in a passion, something which they like to do. Something is like, make a change in what is happening, create an impact in society, bring value. So first thing is that, and if you ask me, why did I get into entrepreneurship? I wanted to do that. I did not want to sit and just report to someone else. It didn't fit with my mindset. It didn't fit with me. Go 9 to 6, do what you're told, collect a salary. I wanted to associate with some better people. I wanted to expand my thought process. Something should stretch me more than just a job, right? So it has to start with that. It was not to, make money or, make millions. Of course, that drives. There is no doubt that lure is always there, but that dream has to be there. And if you say, how do I don't have a dream, that's okay. It doesn't happen on the first thought itself. The easiest way somebody successful told me, and this I have learned from many successful people say, I just don't know what do I want to do. The easiest and the simplest way to get focus and to get a dream, what we say, or to get a direction in life, is hang around and associate and talk and stick to people who are having a direction in life. That's it. It doesn't happen with everybody overnight. What do you think? I'll tell you, when I was just getting out of college, I knew that I just don't want to get placement where everybody's getting. It's weird, right? It's just strange. There's no logic behind it. It's just that I just didn't want to go where everyone is going. So when I, along with everyone, I got placed into, in a place, Hyderabad, I was like, let me try something else. Why not? And I heard Bangalore is a better city. It has more potential. And out of nothing, I just went around and applied to companies, walked into their offices, and you won't believe, at the last minute, just 2 hours before I had to leave that city, I entered into the office of a company, and then they said, we have a test tomorrow. That was my last attempt. If I didn't happen, I would have been somewhere else. But so one key thing, what I'll tell you is that if you want to make it in any field, you just have to refuse to give up till it is over. Okay, this I have learned. And I did not, one company, second one, they said we have test next month, we have another one. I just tried and it went. So, for me, it was not like, something spectacular. I appreciate some of the first generation entrepreneurs. They have some fantastic technical idea. They have something else. Whatever it may be, it has to drive you. And that concept and the dream has to drive you. That cannot be only money. It cannot be that I've stuck, 1 crore in my mind I want to make, and that drives me. No, that will come on its own. Of course, there are some, like I'm associated with a lot of people over the last few years. I have had the fortune and the good fortune to share my knowledge with many upcoming entrepreneurs, working professionals, students, some of them, but mostly working professionals. And we say, it could be as little. For example, it need not be to become an entrepreneur. Some of you might be having a dream to be the first gold medalist of your city. Why not? It could be a dream that, you go back to your parents who worked hard and given you this education, and hand over that gold medal in your mom's and dad's hand and say, thank you for raising me up. Is it entrepreneurship? No. But it's mental conditioning to follow a dream, right? So you work hard towards it and you get it done. And that's how you learn how to set new goals, set new dreams, and move on. It could be as simple as, I want to get placed in so and so company so that I can hand over the first salary to my dad and give my parents an international vacation. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessary that, it has to be tied to, I want to become the next whatever, the business tycoon. Doesn't work. I'll tell you, it doesn't work. People associate with something which is like close to them and then get started. So the next thing is that, very important is that whatever be it on your mind, you need to set certain dates to it. It's just not whenever, because whenever doesn't work. See, it doesn't work that, one day I will be successful or one day I'll make it happen. It has to be set with a certain date in mind. So for me, it was like, in 7 to 8 years, I need to be in a position that I fulfill my financial responsibilities and be in a position that if somebody says, sorry, we don't have a job for you, I'm like, it's okay. It doesn't matter. And that's a big thing, because I don't have financial backing. And most of us, when we leave our homes and enter into a new city, we have to build our own base. And especially if you're in the US, if somebody just shows you the pink slip and walks you off, it's a scary thought. And when we started job, right, when I started in early 2000, it was unheard of or very rarely heard of. Traditional thinking, when all of our batchmates and seniors were talking about working in power plants, in banks, financial institutions, or electrical plants, or manufacturing, automobile plants, they never get laid off. They will get in and then they retire at 60. But that's a forgotten age, right? So, that way I was in that, I wanted to be in that position, and there was a certain date. So you need to set a date. Now, don't worry about it too much. If you're like just early in your life and, how do I get this? How do I get that? You just got to take it one step at a time, right? And it's not necessary that, as I told you, that everybody has to think in a certain way. You associate with the right people, you keep associating, and things will happen. The next thing is that what do you need to do if you really say, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, or I need to move ahead towards a goal that I have set. You need to find a mentor. None of the successful entrepreneurs in the world will say that they didn't have any mentor. Are you aware? If you're not aware, even Jeff Bezos has a mentor. Not everybody discloses who their mentor is, right? If you know that Bill Gates and all, they find even Warren Buffett is their mentor in some ways. And the thing is that who's a mentor? A mentor is someone who's able to guide you on that part. And how do you find a mentor? The first thing is a mentor should be able to show that he has the results, which we call actually in our term is fruit on the tree, which basically means that, see, parents, relatives, neighbors, colleagues are good to give you advice, but do they have the results to show that? See, my parents gave me an upbringing, but if I want to move out of my job and create financial independence or follow an entrepreneurship or business path, my dad hasn't done that. So how is he going to mentor me? That doesn't make him any less capable, but that's not what he can provide, right? So you need to figure that out. That emotional part of things, we are so emotionally tied up sometimes to our friends and our uncles who guide us. Beta ye karo. Yeah, but have you done that? No, so then probably your advice may not be relevant to me. In your mind, don't say that to him. Okay, everybody has a respect, but in your mind, it should be like, yeah, I need to figure out someone who has walked that path, right? So I was fortunate. I was guided and mentored by financially independent global leaders who have worked a job, of course, but they have created a tremendous network in the wellness industry, which I am associated with primarily, health and wellness, and they live a financially independent life. Now I got to take mentorship for them and do what they have done for a sustained period of time. But finding that mentor isn't easy. That is where your networking skill comes to play. So let me tell you one more thing about people who are successful and mentors. See, I want to associate with, even with Jeff Bezos or maybe whoever, whatever names come to your mind. I want to associate with those successful people. But do they want to associate with me? No. Why is it that? Have you ever, if you ever wonder about that, why is it that they don't want to? So when you probably move into the job world, also you'll see the guys who are like the senior manager, director. They don't want to talk to me. I'm a junior guy. I want to talk to them. You know why? The main thing is the mindset that I carry. I used to carry in the beginning when I entered the job world. That is not the mindset that they want. The difference is not in the skills. The difference is in experience, yes, but the difference is in the thought process. See, this thing called thought process is very contagious. It's the biggest, it's even more contagious than the virus that we are experiencing. What do you mean by that? You sit with people who have a poor thought process. In a week, your thought process will drop. If they just think about all the worst activities in the world, you're going to start thinking about that in a few days. But if you associate with people who have the right thought process, what is the right thought? Whichever way you want to move, then you will probably start acquiring that thought process. So that is the biggest next thing which I would like to say, that see, the greatest idea in the world can fail if the mindset is not right. There are plenty of unsuccessful, if I say, or less successful, let's not call anybody unsuccessful, less successful geniuses in this world. And there are plenty of successful dumb folks, relatively. There are guys who are like fantastic ideas, the IQ must be like super high, but they're not able to make it. Because that thought process has to develop. About what? About entrepreneurship, business ownership. So I would suggest that, I wish if I were to make a change, I wish I would have a course in college and school On what? How to handle rejections, how to handle fears. Our education system, with all due respect, has given me also a lot of value, but I miss that part. That how do I go into the real world and face things, right? That knowledge doesn't exist. So I would say that if you really want to traverse that path of success in whatever field, let it be a job, let it be entrepreneurship, business, whatever, work on your thought process right now. Thought process, how will it come? What do you mean by thought process? Thought process means, how do you think right? How do you overcome? What is grit? What is determination? What is consistency? What is the power of compounding in terms of activities, certain books to read, which is developing yourself internally, is what I'm talking about. So for us, in my field and in my experience, mental and physical health are the most paramount things. I think if you will read and observe, and there is plenty of information now in this world available. Information is so easy to get. You will read and understand talent and skill can be outbeaten by hard work. There are plenty of people who have enough talent, who have enough skill, but they are outworked and beaten by people who have worked hard and who have carried that thought process, that mental stamina. So the biggest problem why people who want to become entrepreneurs, in my experience, or business owners, or people who want to follow their dreams, I would say in any way, do not make it, is because they do not have that mental stamina. They do not have that emotional stability. They do not develop that grit to face rejections and overcome. So the biggest problem is this. Another problem is that the reason why people don't make it in that step forward is that fear of rejection and fear of लोग क्या कहेंगे, right? अगर आप मतलब I have seen so many people, for example, there was a very very good intelligent IIT graduate, and he was like looking towards doing something in our field. His mother, like his parents were like, what the hell are you trying to do? We have given you this education, we've given you this degree, and you're going to do some silly business. You're supposed to work for the top corporation, a badge, right? So the thing is that, see, conformity to society is so inbuilt, is so drilled in us, that sometimes we let go of our dream and goal. That should not be the case. You have to develop that conviction that let me try and let me see what happens. You see, everybody wants to be successful. Nobody wants to fail. Correct? But if you study the history of any successful entrepreneur, any successful business venture, it is built on a succession of minor failures, right? Let it be. See, technology has changed. Definition of success has changed. Yeah. Today, if somebody talks to you about the light bulb, it's by default. If somebody talks to you about the internet, it's by default. If somebody talks to you about a computer, computing device, the smartphone, it's by default. But do you know that from time immemorial, let it be Edison, let it be Henry Ford, let it be IBM, Sam Walton, Walmart, or let it be Bill Gates, Michael Dell, or let's come to Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. Everybody has built the success over failures. Everybody. Technology changed, age changed. So what is not changed as a common denominator? It is the mental conditioning, the stamina, the emotional stability, the internal drive. So I don't care, if you say I have the next best idea in the world to change the whole planet, fantastic. But will you have the sheer grit and determination to go through the failures, go through the rejections, ridiculed probably by people? What the hell are you doing? Are you crazy? And still go on, right? There are several stories. Do you know the Wright brothers were the first to fly the aeroplane? Yeah, a long time back. But there was somebody else before that who made multiple attempts. I don't remember the name, but it's easy to Google can help you in all this. There was a person who made multiple attempts before the Wright brothers, and just before he could succeed, he quit. His name nobody knows, right? Do you know that Apple took 20 years to reach, whatever, X billion, and the next 10 years they are 10X? Do you know that Jeff Bezos the world's richest man today, he quit his high flying IT, he quit his high flying job in the financial world in Wall Street. And people told him, are you mad? Are you crazy? At that time, it's unheard of. And what are you going to do? Sell books out of a garage? Insane. Today, it all looks nice. But try to put yourself in that situation. चार लोग बोलेंगे मत करो, हवा निकल जाएगी. ये problem, that is the biggest problem with people. It's not that we don't have the ability. It's not that we don't have the talent. It may not be we may have a pretty simple idea also. It may not be the best idea, but to carry it forward will require that. And how do you develop that? There's no formula. The only way is to associate yourself, to listen to, and to keep putting it in your head. What is success about? Which doesn't come by default. You see, negative is by default, positive is not by default. What do you mean by that? If you leave a ground empty, do flowers grow in it? What grows in it? Weeds. Right? जिसे बोलते हैं, I don't know what is in Hindi, but by default, nothing fancy grows in. But to grow a nice crop, nice flowers, rose or whatever, अच्छा फसल उगाने के लिए मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. Right? जैसे if I tell you, then yeah. So basically, if you decide that I want to move ahead in a certain direction, I want to become an entrepreneur, I want to develop a business, be ready for all these things. You will not be welcomed with open arms. No, not at all. You will have to figure out how you can surround yourself with positive, with the right thought process. For that, you'll have to read. Now it's pretty simple. If you're sitting now, okay, TikTok is gone, but something else will come. If you're sitting on YouTube or some other or Instagram and looking at what the whole world is doing, chances are your brain is not going to develop to that level. Of course, I'm never going to deny the fact that it's like, you should have fun, hang out with friends, chill out, watch movies, whatever. But then every day make a conscious effort to develop yourself physically, in terms of health. We are very, very strong on that. I'm very strong on that. And to develop yourself mentally. Because nobody else is going to do that. You might as well go and listen to Bill Gates' address to, I think, one of the MBA classes that he did. Was it Wharton, or I don't know. I don't remember. My memory is not so great on that. But he said, if you're going to rely on the organization or somebody else to give you time to develop yourself, forget it. You'll have to do it on your own time. So the guys whom we talk about and look up to, they're not sitting and watching Netflix every day. The people who developed Netflix, they didn't watch Netflix movies every day, right? And probably they still don't. If they do it, they do it for work. So you'll have to find some time. That's what my message always is, and that's what I have done. It's not that I'm, just saying out of nothing. Read, listen, and get crazy about developing yourself, getting access to the right source of information. Things like that. That's a little bit about it. I think I have some questions which you had posted. I'll try to answer those. See, starting a business while in college. So, what I'll tell you is that being in college, you have the luxury of having a little fun. If you want to start a business or you have some idea, just don't worry too much about it, how great it is. Try to enjoy it, whatever you feel passionate about. Whether it is developing a new tech. See, I'm not great at tech, okay? So I'm not a technology entrepreneur. But even if you talk to a technology entrepreneur, you talk to somebody who's made it big in retail industry, somebody who's just a shopkeeper with multiple shops. He's also an entrepreneur, by the way, okay? Everybody's going to tell you the same thing. That don't get hung up and worried about, how am I going to get funding? How am I going to put a team together? You need to have some fun with it. You should be able to enjoy it, the first thing. If it's like too much stress for you, it's going to burn out, right? So just chill out, thoda dekho, try to network with some people who are on that field. That is very important. So your networking skills have to be really good. See, one thing I've realized, and I'll tell you, you ask all successful people, is beyond a certain point of time, the best opportunities come to you in life through your network. Nowhere else. It's just not going to be walking through the door. The first couple of opportunities, see, why is network so important? See, why are you in this elite institution which is like 120 years old? 100 years plus rather, right? So 100 years, close to 100 years, we are almost. So we'll be celebrating that in, I think, the next year or something. I forgot. Yeah. So next year. So the 100 years old institution, you have a completely huge database of alumni. That is your network. Tap into that. What surprises me is that why are people so shy? What happens? Oh, kya bolenge? Wo to itne senior. The heck with it. If somebody is like too, heavy headed that they can't help you out, leave them. Move on to the next person. You should not be having any hesitations. The biggest problem is that we hesitate, to reach out, and that is not something which will happen. And take responsibility. The thing is, business owners take responsibility. What is the difference I found between working as an employee and taking as business owner? So let me give you an example. One day network is down. What will the employee do? Drink coffee, right? और घर जाएगा और lunch लंबा लेगा. क्यों? Network down है. I don't care. Somebody has to fix it. But if you, let's say, run a small grocery shop, and your boy, I'm just telling you, see, entrepreneurship kahan se or business, it is at every level, okay? Don't think too low of the guy who runs a small grocery shop. He's also a business owner and an entrepreneur. Respect that. So if his boy who helps him to package runs away, what will he do? Shut her down? No, he will do it himself. Or his wife will join him, or he will work extra. Kyun? Because it is him. He has to fix it. He has to do it. So that thinking has to come. And that thinking takes time, of course, but you have to understand that part. So that's what basically taking responsibility is also about, and a lot of people hesitate to do that. So business doesn't cut out for them. See, everybody's not. So let me burst some bubbles if I can do that. Don't mind it. Everybody is not cut out for business, and everybody should not do. That's fine. But certain principles of success you should apply everywhere. These things, what I'm telling you, have helped people climb up the corporate ladder and make significant impact in the job world. And these things have helped people become entrepreneurs also. What do you think that after 8 to 9 years, opportunities in job come because you are the biggest and the smartest? No, because you're well networked. You have right network, you have the right thought process, right attitude. See, whenever, if you suppose happen to land up some let's say opportunity to talk to somebody who's going to give you money, for example, invest in your business, they will look at your thought process, they will look at your attitude, they will look at your network, they will look at your team. I have a friend who's from IMA, and they are in the position that they evaluate businesses to invest money, and they say, first show me your team, first let me talk to you, forget about your idea, I'll figure out what you see. Tell me something. What to do is not a big deal. Sorry, how to do is not a big deal. Technology is available so easily today. Technology is available, access to information is available, right? But first thing is what to do. And the second thing is that who are you and what is your network, which basically means who are the people whom I'm going to put money with? What kind of thought process do they carry? That is what people look at, right? That is what is something is in your control. And what is in our control? Do we control what opportunities come outside? To some extent. So for some people use this word luck. So let me tell you what luck is. Luck is opportunity meets preparedness. That is what I have understood, which basically means how well prepared you are for the next opportunity. And how can you prepare? By putting in your best today, right? If somebody, see, don't get me wrong, if your goal is that you should be the class topper, you should go for it. But if your goal is not to be the class topper, don't break your head about it. But you should have something else that you can shine in, right? So I am like, even I tell my son, he's like, I'm not too great fond of academics. I said, fine, but then you got to be something else that covers up for it, So if Tendulkar failed in class 12, it doesn't matter because he was Tendulkar, right? So some things can be overlooked. But what I'm not saying that see, academics build the foundation. What foundation? How we can use our brains and apply in situations. That is what it is. Today, what we are using in our field, what have we learned in college that we are using? Nothing. That surprises you? Academics wise, I'm using nothing. But that doesn't mean that whatever I learned was useless. No. It basically means that each year that I went through, each subject that I went through, the environment that I was in, can I make the best of it? Can I think right? Can I apply my mind? Can I expand my thought process, and in your in college to network well, develop those right. One thing which I would have wished to have, develop those right interpersonal skills, be somebody who's emotionally able to handle those ups and downs, the rejections, the things that come in life. That is what it conditions us to do. That is what it gives to us. And you're grateful, that you should be grateful wherever it is. Sometimes we are tuned to look at, oh, this guy has that guy I don't have. I do that a lot. I did that a lot, but it's not useful. It just pulls you down. So I looked at, oh, I couldn't clear IIT. That's it. So what? Doesn't matter. There are so many guys who are out from IIT but haven't made it in life. Does it make any license to be successful? No. What is the difference? Is the difference is in the environment and how they are tuned to apply their brain, which we can also do in our situation. And it's a lot of people, as I'm telling you, with a lot of skills and talent, technically brilliant, but they don't develop these things, doesn't last. So focus more on that, or at least equally. I wouldn't say it should be a balance. It should not be one imbalance. Nobody, the world doesn't want a genius who just can't talk to two people. Doesn't work, in the long run. So these are the things which I think I wanted to cover. I think I've covered some of the questions. If I want to, what kind of organization should I set up? I have a solid. Yeah, if you have a solid plan and aim to be an entrepreneur at a very young age, as I told you, you need to see, how do you know you have a solid plan? You think you have a solid plan. Don't worry about whether plan will fail, successful, what will happen. If you really believe in that, go ahead with it. You need to first find out somebody who has gone that path, get some mentorship from them. You'll have to seek out. Lower your, sometimes we have to lower our ego. That's okay. But be persistent. See, persistence beats anything. क्या होता है ना, one or two times somebody, for example, if somebody is looking to get mentored by me today, if I don't find any time, I'll say I don't have time. But if the guy is really persistent, you're bound to take notice, right? So don't worry about it. If somebody just says, forget it, तुम्हारा idea में कोई काम नहीं है, दम नहीं है. You believe in it, that matters. And what you experience through the path of implementing or trying to implement that idea has more value than anything else. And it's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be one time. I know today what has happened is that a lot of people say old model has changed. Success used to be a prolonged, long drawn battle. Now success is faster. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. It is not like that. The digital age has changed certain things. So certain things are faster. But हमको क्या दिखता है ना? We see the end product. We see somebody who has succeeded in the last 2 years. Oh, 2 years में successful हो गया. You didn't look at the last 8 years where he was grinding himself day in and day out and failing. वो कोई नहीं दिखाता है. वो image कौन बताएगा? Is it glamorous to say, oh, see, look at my failures? World doesn't remember that. So, so many stories are there. It is not like, I'm talking something new. But if you believe in that, go ahead. And how can college students become successful entrepreneurs and building their skills? Yeah, so I told you, whether it is a startup, whether you're talking about a business startup or entrepreneurship, skills are fine, but your ability to handle things, situations, your mental stamina, your focus, your internal development, those are the things which you need to work on. And be prepared better when the right opportunity knocks to your door, which could be either in the form of the right collaboration or the right set of people that you talk to. So keep trying. And I haven't raised any capital, so I'm not the right person for that. But those things are not really complicated. Let me tell you, it's not so complicated. It is not like a big deal these days. It's not that, the first ball you come on the pitch will be a 6. You'll have to get bowled out. You'll have to get hit on the head. In cricketing terminologies, since हम लोग cricket के बहुत passionate है, you'll have to probably get a hit on the arm, but keep standing there. वही matter करता है. तो एक नहीं, दूसरा नहीं, तीसरा नहीं, कोई ये तरीका, but finally you'll make it if you are having that, drive inside you to implement your idea. And what are the current trends, legal measures? See how those things, as I told you, it's not so complicated. Lawyers are there, institutions are there, information is easily accessible. There are people who have done it, so you can always network, but reach out. There are enough people, and in your alumni, in your senior, in your, in your reach, the next person who can give you that break maybe 2 or 3 network levels away. That is what is said. So it may be someone your cousin knows, your senior knows. It's not too far. It's just that we sometimes give up too soon and restrict ourselves and get disheartened. Yeah, it's natural to get disheartened. That's fine. But giving up means the end of the story, right? That's what it is. I think these are all things which I wanted to cover. And if there is anything, I think probably now we can open it to question answers, because I think we have spent good 50 minutes. Is that
Good.
fine?
That's wonderful. So maybe benefit for all. I what I did, I just noted few things, and maybe we can discuss, and then everybody might get out of something from it. So you basically initially mentioned that time to be used wisely, and maybe just give 1 or 2 example around this. And you also mentioned somewhere that one has to basically burn extra oil, you know, to achieve something in their life, to become something. So maybe I just put forward to you this, and then I have few more points which I will. Yeah.
Correct, sir. Basically, for example, if I take from my life, I'll tell you a practical example. So when we initially get into our jobs, it's so exciting in the evenings to spend time, movies. Matlab, today in this world, there are 10,000 ways that your time can be stolen. Time robbers, jise bolte hain. Instagram could be stealing your time, where you're just looking at somebody else's success. क्या होता है कि वी लुक एट समबडी एल्सेस प्रोफाइल, उसने ये खरीदा, उसने ये किया, उसने अचीव किया. यू डोंट नो व्हाट दे आर गोइंग थ्रू. इट्स जस्ट अ वेरी स्मॉल स्नैपशॉट ऑफ देयर लाइफ. और उससे क्या होता है, खुद को ही मूड खराब होता है. एंड फेसबुक में देखा, अभी नेटफ्लिक्स है, यूट्यूब है, मतलब इतना सब कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन बॉम्बार्डिंग है. देयर आर एवेन्यूज टू बर्न टाइम, प्लेंटी ऑफ देम. अगर आप शाम को 6 घंटा बोले तो आई कैन बर्न द होल इवनिंग इन थिंग्स विच एड नो वैल्यू. That doesn't mean, as I said, again, कि रोबो बन जाना चाहिए कि बस खाली काम काम काम. नहीं, you should have your enjoyment, you should have your fun. बट आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि डेली आपका टाइम किधर रॉब हो जा रहा है. बैठ के मतलब चैट कर रहे हैं तो घंटों चैट कर रहे हैं, कुछ निकल नहीं रहा है. दिस इज फॉर समबडी हु इज फोकस्ड. सी अगर आपको उतना फोकस नहीं है और वो नहीं है, ठीक है, आई कांट कमेंट, बट स्टिल यू विल रियलाइज लुकिंग बैक कि यार ये 6 महीने 1 साल ये तो पूरा गवा दिया पूरा. तो वो रिग्रेट नहीं होना चाहिए. यू शुड नॉट हैव दैट रिग्रेट. अगर आपको लगता है कि नहीं, मैंने बहुत कुछ किया, आई डिड अ पीएचडी ऑन द बेस्ट मूवीज रिलीज्ड, दैट्स फाइन. यू कुड बी द बेस्ट रिव्यूअर एंड क्रिटिक ऑफ मूवीज इन द नेक्स्ट, यू कुड राइट अ ब्लॉग, बट देन यू शुड बी सो गुड एट इट. वो आपका गोल होना चाहिए. ये मतलब है मेरा.
So just basically, there is one question from Prakhar Tandon, and with that question, I will just relate what you mentioned. You mentioned about the dream and the passion, and the people have a dream about the money as final goal or something. And as you rightly mentioned, that money is an outcome. It is not basically a dream, or it is not a passion which drives up people towards that. It is a final outcome, or indirect outcome, or direct outcome. So if I basically go through the question of Prakhar Tandon, who is mentioning that I do have an idea, I do believe in it. So what you basically suggest or advise or mentor as that, what would be his dream or his passion?
I read that question. He has an idea and I believe in it, and I have a friend who's passionate. What do we want to do? So the simple thing is that you need to seek out somebody who can mentor you on this, which basically means you need to get access to some people who are working in that technology space or whatever it is, your seniors. That is the first starting point, I can say. And there are people available. Bug them or seek out to them, run through your idea to them, get somebody who can guide you. So for example, if you say that, sir, can you guide me on this technology which I'm working? I will have no idea, but I can probably lead you to someone, or I can guide you on a more of a, supportive basis, outside support, that way. But technology जो है specific क्या है, किस domain में है, what is it that is about, you need to find that right person who can guide you. The first thing is that should be your direction. मतलब, that is what I can say, and they are the right people to comment on it, whether how far you should pursue, how should it be done, or people who have implemented the same path, people who have walked that same path. Okay, one more thing he has written, I don't communicate. Shall I take up that question, sir?
Yeah. Please.
I don't communicate well. I'm not very good with communicating with new people. How can I improve myself? Well, as I told you, the world is so easy to access. Go on to YouTube and find out how do you communicate well, and people will give you tips. Read some books on communication. Access some books on communication. John Maxwell is a good author. There are some books which I have read on communication. Yeah, आपने अच्छा point बोला actually. This is a very good point. The biggest problem in this world is people don't know how to communicate. That is the biggest problem. So first thing I'll tell you to communicate well, first is to learn to shut up and listen. That is what somebody told me. मतलब ये है कि not मुंह बंद नहीं. अभी भी when I'm talking, just do this check. Everybody do this check. When I'm talking, how many of you have something running in your brain? इनकी शक्ल कैसे दिख रही है, इनके पीछे क्या दिख रहा है, ये क्या बोल रहे हैं, इनका चश्मा कैसा है, ये क्या है. That is called shutting up and listening. Because क्या है, हम लोग इतना tied up है, हमारा brain जो है चुप नहीं रहता. Mind में ये चलता है, वो चलता है. So when we really focus and listen, we absorb much more. So good communication का मतलब आप बोल नहीं पाते, ठीक है, वो ठीक है, पहले आप सुनना सीखिए, बहुत अच्छी बात है. Next thing is about talking. It's not at all difficult. Don't think about that. There are simple books which are there. Books are the good things. There may be certain online free, courses some people run. Don't go for any paid stuff and all that. Is no use. And I'll tell you very simple thing है. Very simple एक method होता है. अभी तो आजकल ही है. Go onto the screen or go onto the mirror and start talking to yourself. You'll just remove that fear. The biggest fear is कि मैं कैसे दिखता हूँ communication में. मैं क्या मेरा what is it? When you look at yourself in the mirror and you talk, your communication will definitely improve because you will start realizing how others look at you.
Yes, very true. And in communication, as you rightly mentioned, the people have a fear that कैसे मैं बोलूँगा, क्या शब्द मैं यूज करूँगा, मेरे शब्द से कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं होगा कि वो बिगड़ जाएगा. So कहीं ना कहीं हम अपने मेन आइडिया को हटा के साइड में रख के हम अपने कम्युनिकेशन के ऊपर ज्यादा इन्फोर्स करने लग जाते हैं. And as you rightly mentioned, the listening skill is a far more important than speaking skill. And if one has mastered that skill, he is a wonderful communicator. He is a wonderful communicator.
Exactly. Very few people in the world are like that, sir.
Exactly. You mentioned one more thing. You mentioned that associate with the people with whom you basically drive your passion. So if you basically permit me, may I just put one word and maybe elaborate you on that? Basically connect with the people with whom one is resonating. One is basically getting driven towards that. So resonate would be the right word.
Exactly. See.
So maybe for benefit of all, maybe you can basically explain what I mean that resonating with the people.
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. If you want to become a doctor, you can't sit with engineers. If you want to become an engineer, you can't sit with doctors. If you want to, you want to learn how to communicate well, associate with people whom you think communicate well. Observe them. What do they do? How do they talk? What is it that makes them good communicator? Talk to them. Get that. So if you have an idea, which is like you want to run through that, you need to talk to people who you respect and who you think are accomplished in that field, and they can actually guide you. So association is very, very important. See, for me, it's simple. It was simple. Like if I wanted to move out of my job and become financially independent, in the sense run a business, I will not talk to people who are running behind the next promotion, because their focus is only that. So I have to change some of my association and friends. See, friends क्या है ना, friends, we are all, so don't get me wrong, we are all good for, let's say if you want to hang out, have fun, go out for a next destination, movie या कहीं travel, we are great, okay, वो अलग बात है. लेकिन अगर मुझे कुछ फाइनेंशियल डिसीजन लेना है, लाइफ में आगे बढ़ने का लेना है, तो मैं किसकी मेंटरशिप और किसकी एसोसिएशन में रहूंगा? Then I have to seek out those people who are where they are in life, where I want to be. सिंपल लॉजिक है. आपको जिंदगी में जहाँ पे पहुंचना है, वहाँ कौन पहुंचा है? अगर उनका एसोसिएशन या मेंटरशिप मिल जाए, दैट इज द बेस्ट. देन दैट इज व्हाट यू हैव टू गेट होल्ड ऑफ. इट्स नॉट इजी, ऑफ कोर्स इट इजंट. व्हाई वुड इट बी इजी? तो सक्सेस इजी क्यों नहीं है? इसीलिए नहीं है. वरना
Wonderful.
सभी सक्सेसफुल हो जाए.
Wonderful, wonderful. There is one more question from Nikita Arora, and with that, I would basically add what you basically just talked about, the mental conditioning, mental, uh, wellness, and you talk also about the mental uh, ability to handle situation. So uh, it would be maybe appropriate of this question that how a person can basically condition his or her mental.
या सही बात है. सी, सबसे पहले अपना स्टार्ट बिजनेस का कि क्या आइडिया सही है कि नहीं मेरा, ये कैसे होगा, पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे, कौन रिसीव. अरे फॉरगेट ऑल दैट. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, आर यू एबल टू रिलेट एंड टच, मतलब आपको उसके बारे में पैशनेट होगी पहले. तो निकिता का सब पूछने, कोई भी आइडिया आता है, बिजनेस अपना स्टार्ट करना है, क्या करना है. आई एम नॉट गिविंग आइडियाज टू यू, बट मुझे अपना एम्ब्रॉयडरी का बिजनेस कोई सोचता है, समझो आई वांट टू स्टार्ट इन माय क्लोथिंग लाइन, फॉर एग्जांपल क्लोथिंग लाइन. मैंने इंजीनियरिंग पढ़ी है, ये सब क्या बेकार हो जाएगी, लोग क्या बोलेंगे. अभी क्लोथिंग लाइन में, एग्जांपल में बोल रहा हूँ. हाउ डज इट मैटर? टेल मी दैट. डज इट मीन दैट योर इंजीनियरिंग डिग्री इज वेस्टेड? इट इज नॉट. व्हाट यू हैव स्टडीड, व्हाट यू विल बी यूजफुल. बट आपको उससे कुछ, दैट शुड बी योर समवॉट ऑफ योर कॉलिंग. यू जस्ट कांट थिंक अबाउट स्टार्टिंग अ बिजनेस रैंडमली इन एनीथिंग. दैट्स व्हाट मैं पहले बोल रहा था कि बिजनेस क्यों करना है. पहले क्वेश्चन मैं आपसे पूछूंगा, अगर आप बोलते हो, मुझे पूछोगे सर मुझे इसमें बिजनेस स्टार्ट करना है, मैं पूछूंगा क्यों, इसमें क्यों, किसी और में क्यों नहीं. नहीं, इससे मेरा बहुत दिल लगा हुआ है. क्या दिल लगा, क्या किया आपने? हैव यू शोन, कैन यू प्रूव टू मी दैट यू आर रियली अटैच्ड टू दिस,
Yes.
कि जस्ट एक रैंडम थॉट है? पहले उसको फिक्स करो, और यू हैव टू लर्न टू एंजॉय. यू कैन नॉट बी स्ट्रेस्ड अबाउट इट, यू हैव टू लर्न टू एंजॉय. सो अगर आप टेक्नोलॉजी स्पेस में बिजनेस स्टार्ट करने की बात करते हैं, इट विल रिक्वायर कैपिटल, इट विल रिक्वायर राइट आइडिया. वो तो फिर डिफरेंट स्टोरी है. इट हैज टू हैपन. वो जो होगा सो होगा. बट आपको उससे क्या मतलब, व्हाट इज यू, व्हाई डू यू वांट टू डू दैट, व्हाट इज योर पैशन इन दैट. सो दैट विल बी मैटरिंग मोर देन
Yeah,
थिंग्स.
very right. You also mentioned one place that you mentioned about the Sachin Tendulkar, like Sachin Tendulkar, performing well in sports arena, but he failed in academics. And you rightly mentioned, and that basically gives me one word again, that is uniqueness. As you very rightly mentioned that if I know that which business is good for me, and which business is really resonating with me, and I have a uniqueness in that business or in that area, maybe job or whatever. So do I going to do well, or I'm going to do wonderful? What is your thought on this? Maybe you can elaborate.
Yeah, so basically वही है ना कि that for example, what you see, biggest problem, मैंने इसके साथ मैं relate करता हूँ. Biggest problem is ना, the world will try to say fix your weaknesses, है ना. ये सबसे बड़ी फालतू स्टेटमेंट है एक्चुअली.
Yes.
ये हम लोग बड़े होके हमको क्या था, तुम किस सब्जेक्ट में वीक हो ना, उस
वो
पर
ठीक
ज्यादा
करो.
ध्यान दो. ये इतना, मतलब आई टेल यू फॉर द ऑडियंस, एंड मतलब मेरी समझ ये है कि ये दिस इज एज क्रेजी एज सेइंग बॉलर की वीकनेस बैटिंग है तो बैटिंग पे ज्यादा ध्यान दो. तो बॉलिंग क्या करेगा वो? उसको तो इतना, अगर वो बोले मैं इतना बढ़िया बॉलर हूँ, उसको बोलना चाहिए हर मैच में जाके 5 विकेट ले, 0 पे आउट हो जाए, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, तू 5 विकेट ले ले.
Exactly.
लेकिन द वर्ल्ड विल स्टार्ट सेइंग कि आप वीकनेस पे. सो इसका मतलब ये है कि दैट सी व्हाट यू आर गुड एट, यू शुड फिगर दैट आउट. आपको क्या, व्हाट यू आर गुड एट, and there that is where, if the calling is, you should focus there. Of course, you become so good at it that what you're not good at doesn't remain so important. But if you start being mediocre, medium का कुछ काम नहीं होता है. प्रॉब्लम तो ये है, मतलब यू मे बी द, एज आई टोल्ड यू ना, मेरा फंडा ये था, मेरा प्रिंसिपल है, यू डोंट हैव टू बोरो दैट। मेरा फंडा ये था कि मैं अगर किसी के घास भी काटनी है तो वो भी ठीक है, बट आई शुड बी द बेस्ट ग्रास कटर। मतलब मैं जब घास काटूं तो लोग बोले क्या बिंदा, इससे बढ़िया तो कोई होता नहीं है। इफ आई एम रनिंग अ बिजनेस इन दैट, how
ग्रेट।
does it matter to anybody else? I'm my boss, I'm free of my time, and I'm able to do what I like to do, अगर मुझे वो पसंद है तो।
बिल्कुल।
So ये थोड़ा टाइम लगता है, but of course being in college right now, I feel most people should look at developing some skills in terms of, अगर टेक्नोलॉजी में अगर आपको बिजनेस करना है तो टेक्नोलॉजी तो आपको आनी चाहिए, टेक्नोलॉजी पे एकदम यू शुड बी रियली गुड एट इट। So if somebody is in second year, third year saying I have a business idea, you should be a genius in that in some ways. But besides that, of course, you should be able to develop whatever skills I told you. But आप, you should be looked out as unique in that, कि अरे ये बात जो कर रहा है वो, you can carry that idea forward. ये बात है।
Great. And then one more question is there. I think, can I invest in share market from first year for free financial after BTech? Thank you.
ये अच्छा पॉइंट है। देखिए, one more, ये भी actually, because we're not having that much time, but I felt that, you know, financial wisdom is something which should be taught in schools and colleges. So, you know, some people get it from their parents, some people have that knack, right? So I cannot say that you should invest in share market and become free financially. That answer doesn't exist with anyone. But having financial wisdom is important. मैं ये बोलूँगा, financial wisdom का मतलब ये है कि that, you know, how do you manage your money, उसके ऊपर बुक्स हैं, there are books to read. The Richest Man in Babylon एक one book है, मैं I can share some of the books which talk about principles of money or financials from जमाने से जो चली आ रही है, वो चेंज नहीं होती है, राइट? सो स्टार्ट मैनेजिंग, लर्निंग। अगर पॉकेट मनी मिलती है, आई डोंट नो व्हाट इज द पॉकेट मनी नाउ, बट हमारी तो बहुत कम थी। बट लेट्स से इफ योर पॉकेट मनी इज, लेट्स से इफ आई टेक अ वाइल्ड फिगर ऑफ 10,000 a month, how do you manage it? Right? At the end of the year, can you show me some smart decisions and some wise decisions have you taken with that money? If not, then probably you have not gained financial wisdom. So अगर आप शेयर मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं, yeah, you can do that, but in the right way. But don't expect to become financially independent. That should not be, you see, the thing is, again, यहाँ पे एक क्वेश्चन का आंसर ये है कि can I invest and become free financially? You should enjoy it first of all. Do you enjoy managing money? Do you enjoy investing, learning about the market, learning about the balance sheets of stocks, learning about, not like gambling, not like day trader? और अगर आपको day trading पसंद है, तो do you enjoy the algorithms that go with it? Can you chart out courses? Do you enjoy that? उसमें मैं इतना बढ़िया हूँ that I can run my financial services after 4 years because I have learned so much. Be ready to make mistakes. Be ready to burn your hands. Be ready to be called a fool, called an idiot. Be ready to face same things. But मुझे इतना मजा आता है उसमें, I really enjoy it. I will follow it and let's see what happens. Yeah, no, but at the same time, pass.
Yeah.
You should not be repeating the same course. You know, that doesn't work. So then, you know, doesn't work. So what works is that if somebody is so passionate about it, so good at it, he's pretty average in his class, but at the end of the 4th year, he's able to devise a new, you know, algorithm to trade, and he's so good at it. उसका नया algorithm accept हो गया या नया platform उसने कुछ बना, I don't know much about that, but इतना मुझे पता है कि financial wisdom तो होना चाहिए. So I hope that answers that question to some.
Wonderful. And you rightly mentioned a few things like enjoyment and the passion. These two keywords are for anything. And you also given an example of the kirana shop, that कि kirana shop में यदि कोई उसका नौकर नहीं है तो कैसे वो पैकिंग करेगा. सो अपना हैंड को, मतलब अपने स्लीव को फोल्ड करना है, अपने से काम करने लगना है, तो ओनरशिप की एक बहुत बड़ी रिक्वायरमेंट होती है बीइंग और रनिंग अ बिजनेस. और सो आई होप if there is no question,
एक और
shall we
क्वेश्चन है,
conclude?
I have idea to start business. Right now I have no money. टफ वन. अगर आपको बिजनेस स्टार्ट करना है बट मनी नहीं है तो या सी, it depends on what your idea is. You know, money can be sought out if your idea is really fantastic. See, do you know that I forgot the name of the person, the founder of Oyo? He had no money. He had to borrow money. He had to figure out. He had to. There are people who have slept on street, and people have come out from nothing. ऐसा नहीं है कि हर बिजनेस के लिए पैसा ही जरूरी है.
बिल्कुल.
मतलब और अगर नहीं है तो फिगर आउट करना पड़ता है यार. But it's not going to be simple, and it's tough one because right now I don't know which year you are in, first year, second year, third year, and how much money is required. I have no clue about that. But दुनिया में तो कोई भी ऐसा नहीं था जिसके पास बिजनेस आइडिया था और पैसा था. I don't think there was anyone. Q&A टैब में few questions हैं. Okay. I demotivation. अच्छा, तो मैं ये क्वेश्चन उठा लूं सर स्ट्रेट अवे?
Yeah, बिल्कुल. Just take it.
Okay. Do I need to prepare digital? अच्छा, ये मुझे पता नहीं है because digital का मुझे ज़्यादा पता नहीं है. So you'll have to ask somebody who's good in that field. General stuff I can answer. Sometimes I suffer demotivations, and is it my idea productive? Yeah, demotivation will happen. That is not a problem. You have to surround yourself with positive. Talk to people who encourage you. Do not talk to people who discourage you. There is no use about that. Talk to people, as I told you, seek out somebody who has crossed that path of overcoming and becoming. They will tell you both ways कि भाई डिमोटिवेशन को ओवरकम कैसे करते हैं, और आता भी है. इट्स ह्यूमन, इट इज नॉट इनह्यूमन. सो डोंट एक्सपेक्ट कि डिमोटिवेशन नहीं आएगा या डाउन साइड नहीं होगी. वो तो होनी है. उसको ओवरकम कैसे करना है. सो देयर आर एम्पल रिसोर्सेज, देयर आर एम्पल वीडियोज, ample stuff around where you can surround yourself with positive and keep on moving. Believe that you have that ability. See, you are not built for failure. None of us are built for failure. कोई मैकेनिज्म में ऐसे डाल के नहीं वाला कि आप फेल होंगे. बात ये इस मैकेनिज्म को यूज कैसे करना है ना, वो आना चाहिए. वो ओवरनाइट नहीं आता है, वो टाइम के साथ भी आता है. हम भी अगर 10 साल पहले बोले तो ठीक है, 10-12 years back, 15 years back, I had started developing because I was listening to the right people. Is it, Tanish Jaiswal, is it necessary to start entrepreneurship with something big, or is it okay, small things? Of course it is good to start with something small. No problem at all. Nothing is small. ये small बोला किसने? Small word किसने बनाया? आप अगर, मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, somebody who's owning, let's say, okay, Amazon के ओनर को बोले आप बिग है, वो कहाँ से चालू हुआ था आपको पता है? आप जाके स्टोरीज देखो, उनकी फोटोज देखो. Just seek out. Garage में से HP started in a garage. Hewlett Packard started in a garage. Michael Dell used to assemble computers in his dormitory in University of Texas Austin, UTA. एक कहानी भी है कि एक बार वो assemble कर रहा था कि उसके पेरेंट्स को पता चल गया. Then his parents, he himself told, when I was working in Dell, उसकी book में भी है, that his parents were coming and he had to hide all of them in his bathtub में सब छुपा दिया कि नहीं मैं ये सब नहीं कर रहा हूँ. तो सक्सेसफुल होने के बाद सब ताली बजाते हैं, उससे पहले सब कहानियां बनाते हैं. So is it necessary? Then क्या है? What about network marketing? Yeah, you see, network marketing is a pretty good concept, but the right one. Okay, there are a lot of schemes, there are a lot of pyramids that are all crappy. The concept itself is very good. There are books on it. You should read that books. I can give you access to that books. I have read books हैं. So proper कुछ भी है तो बढ़िया है. Right? Nothing is bad. You should not see one thing you have to develop as a mindset ना. किसी को भी आपको रिडिक्यूल नहीं करना चाहिए कभी भी, क्योंकि कब कौन क्या कितना बड़ा बन जाता है ना, कुछ नहीं पता. अगर नहीं समझ में आता है तो छोड़ देना चाहिए. That's all. What if we fail after trying to a limit, or is there any limit? Who defined that limit? ये बड़ा अच्छा important है. See, you give it your best. That's it. उससे आगे क्या कर सकते हो? तो ये क्वेश्चन किसी ने पूछा, मेरे एक सीनियर एसोसिएट थे कि I do my best. तो उन्होंने बोला व्हाट इफ योर बेस्ट इज नॉट गुड इनफ. अब सो आई हैव टू गो बियॉन्ड माय बेस्ट. इसी मेंटालिटी ऐसी होनी चाहिए थोड़ी बहुत कि यार ठीक है, देयर इज अ लिमिट बियॉन्ड व्हिच आई कैन, लेट्स रीच माय लिमिट एंड लेट्स सी व्हाट हैपेंस. बट डोंट पुट एनी लिमिट्स टू योरसेल्फ बिफोर यू थिंक. बिफोर अटेम्प्टिंग ओनली अगर लिमिट डाल दोगे तो फिर क्या है? मतलब मैं तो 70 से आगे ला ही नहीं सकता. सो समटाइम्स माय सन सेज मैं 70 से आगे नहीं ला सकता. मैं कहा ये किसने बोला आपको? हु टोल्ड यू दैट? यू आर टेलिंग योरसेल्फ दैट, राइट? ये किसी ने लिख के दिया है क्या? टीचर्स ने लिख के दिया है क्या? किसी टीचर ने ऐसे लिख किया तो उसको बुलाओ, पहले उसको चेंज करो. कोई टीचर नहीं बोलेगा, कोई नहीं बोलेगा. सो लिमिट आपकी आप खुद ही डाल रहे हो. थिंक ऑफ दैट. सो इट्स नॉट इजी बट वर्क ऑन इट. नथिंग इज इजी, बट दैट इज व्हाट आई हैव लर्नड.
So Prakat and English mentioned that limit tends to infinity.
या लिमिट के तो मतलब वो कैप है नहीं एक्चुअली. जो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स है वो सोचते हैं देयर इज नो कैप. मतलब पहले तो मैं आई पुश माई सेल्फ देन आई पुश माई सेल्फ मोर.
Yes.
So it's not like you have to reach peak performance. Keep improving every day. Next day is another day. That's it. बस आप mindset ये अगले दिन मैं क्या था आज मैं क्या हूँ. Some improvement भले ही छोटा हो but it adds up a lot. Read something about compounding. एक book है मैं वो भी भेज दूंगा. I'll send some other. तो कंपाउंडिंग के ऊपर बुक है. पावर ऑफ कंपाउंडिंग इज ह्यूज. अगर आपने कभी उसको समझा नहीं तो एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ कि एक आदमी को पूछा कि 30 दिन के आज मैं आपको 30 दिन के बाद आई गिव यू 10 लाख सम 5 लाख रुपीज व्हाटएवर राइट और आई गिव यू 1 रुपी एंड डबल इट एवरी डे. मैं अभी आपको 5 लाख रुपए देता हूँ या आपको 1 रुपए दूंगा और डबल इट एवरी डे टिल 30th ऑफ द मंथ. क्या चाहिए? अरे तो इंस्टेंट वाले जिनको आज ही आईफोन चाहिए तो बोले जी अभी दे दो 1 लाख रुपए दे दो अभी. मतलब जो भी 1 लाख 2 लाख. बट जस्ट गो एंड डू द मैथमेटिक्स. 1 रुपी मल्टीप्लाइड डबल्ड एवरी डे एट द एंड ऑफ 30 डेज क्या होता है? कंपाउंडिंग बोलते हैं उसको. सो यू डोंट नो द पावर ऑफ कंपाउंडिंग. सिग्निफिकेंट स्मॉल इंप्रूवमेंट एवरी डे विल एड अप टू व्हाट वी टीच दैट बिकॉज वी डू इट वेलनेस. हम बोलते हैं कि कोई मोटा एक दिन में नहीं हुआ या कोई पतला एक दिन में नहीं होता. इट एड्स अप एवरी डे. सो that's what it is.
That's wonderful. And I hope there is no more questions. So shall we conclude, Pawan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No.
Okay. So thank you, Mr. Mohsen. And it was a really pleasure to have you. And it was wonderful eye-opener in many areas. Like people might have understood their passion, what the dream is, and how to network, how to associate, and how to connect with the right mentor. So all these things are, and finally, which we basically just mentioned about the limit. So there is a no limit. And you also mentioned in your talk about the never ever give up. And that basically makes a person, he could be successful in job, it could be business or anywhere. So being every day a new day and performing better and better every day, that makes a great person. And thank you very much, Mr. Mohsen, for being with us. And we will be surely calling you again for some other topic. And it was wonderful having here. And I hope everybody enjoyed. And thank you all the participants who are still there.
Thank you for the opportunity. And if there is a way that panelists, I can send them my LinkedIn, and I'm active much right now on Facebook and Instagram. We can connect. And
yes, sure.
Anytime, agar
आप अपना पूरा वो भेज दीजिएगा पूरा प्रोफाइल. I'll just share with everybody. Pawan, you share with everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. With these students, I will share with these students. Just send to me, sir.
No problem at all. Have fun, enjoy. It's a good time in life. Lot of learning. Responsibility जब तक नहीं आती खूब मजे भी करो. Don't just get into the hang up. क्या होगा? सब अच्छा ही होगा. बहुत अच्छा होगा. Go with that approach. I'm the best. Develop your